It was essential for the new nation to add New York for many reasons. Geographically, New York was very large and could separate the New England regions from the rest of the colonies. It also controlled a port that was important for trade. New York was not as convinced of the Constitution's value as some of the other states had been. At the time of the ratification, there was a large group of anti-federalists in New York, which made it hard for people to see the merit in deciding to ratify. One of the main leaders of the anti-federalists was George Clinton. The main concern of the anti-federalists was the lack of power and representation in Congress for the middle class, and they also disliked the absence of a Bill of Rights. Some people believed that the solution of ratification with suggested amendments, as Massachusetts and Virginia had done, was sufficient to answer this charge. Luckily, influential Alexander Hamilton was leading the Federalists. The discussions concerning the matter were quite fierce.
Have you seen this? The number of representatives should be so large that while it embraces men of the first class, it should admit those of the middling class of life. Oh yes. I have conferred that I am completely for Langton Smith's argument. If those dimwits who are representing us vote for the Constitution, we will not have enough power in Congress, for there won't be enough representation in the middle classes.
Maybe the rich will end up with more power, but they are educated in making decisions, and the poor people aren't. Besides, do you really think that the people will elect an unjust representative? Alexander Hamilton himself said, "The general sense of the people will regulate the conduct of the representatives."
I am quite aware that I will not be fairly represented by a stranger. The way the government is now, I know and trust my representatives. And suddenly I'm just supposed to be represented by a rich stranger? I'm not willing to give my power up to the elite rich people. The middle class people need to have some say.
I can understand your frustration about the representation and power, but I believe that the rich will be the best representatives for our country because they have the best education and connections. They can offer our state wealth and power that no middle classman can offer.
You say this because electing the rich and powerful would be beneficial for you, since you have influence and wealth. I have none of this.
You don't seem to understand that the rich will make better decisions than the middle class. The wealthy have the money for proper education, thus they are better equipped to make the decisions that affect us. Ratifying is exactly what we need to do. All of our states divided are weak and small.
Absolutely not. If the Constitution is passed, rubbish like Alexander Hamilton will be elected. We will not be able to elect the right people, and our state will be run by elitists. Besides, there is still the issue with no Bill of Rights.
You seem to be making up issues against the Constitution. Virginia and Massachusetts already went through this, and it was agreed that the Bill of Rights would be added to the Constitution. That is no longer an issue.
But...
And Alexander Hamilton is not rubbish. I know that the people you view as elitists, I view as great, just people who will fairly represent the masses and make the correct decisions. I presume honorable people like James Madison and those sorts would be elected.
James Madison? He was one of the scoundrels that started this entire thing. I really just want the representatives to be people that I can trust to make the decisions that will help me and not just the rich.
In the end, New York agreed to the Constitution because the Bill of Rights would be added. New York was the 10th state to ratify, and gaining their vote was fundamental for the Constitution to triumph. After those 10 states had agreed to the Constitution, it was time to build a new government.